What is going on, Bucs fans and CFP fans? Evan Wanish back at you with another video talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And today we are going to be discussing the offensive line, continuing our position group previews for the 2024 season. Now, the offensive line does wrap up the offensive side of the football. If you haven't seen our other positional group previews, go check them out. We talked about the quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends. So far, they're all available right here on the Cannon Fire Podcast YouTube channel. But today we're going to be going over the offensive line to wrap up the offensive side of the ball before going over to the defensive side of things. But this offensive line, there isn't a ton of change, I would say, but where there is change, it's significant. And I think that comes with one, investing a first round pick, right, in an offensive lineman. I think that matters. Obviously, they invested a significant asset in Graham Barton from Duke, obviously. So it seems like he's probably going to be the center. And this is just according to the Buccaneers website. They have their only two listed centers on the Buccaneers website are Graham Barton and Robert Hainsey. So that looks to be your two centers for this season. Now, I know Hainsey can play guard. Barton can even kick inside the guard if need be, but I do think they see him as a future center, and he could be a darn good center at that. I will say that. I think he has the potential to be a really, really good player in this league. There's a reason that the Buccaneers selected him when they did. You invest a first round pick in a guy at center. Centers don't typically go that high, right? A lot of times they're day two guys or day three guys. So whenever there's a first round center, and like I said, he can play guard, but he's most likely going to be at the center position. Whenever there's a guy selected in the first round at that position, it's pretty noteworthy, and it means they're probably pretty darn good. So I do have a lot of high hopes for Graham Barton, as the Buccaneers do as well. And Robert Hainsey, look, I know there are still some Hainsey fans out there. I get it. I like his versatility, and I don't think it's a bad thing to have him on your bench. He's a really good bench piece, right? That's really good depth. And with the offensive line, that's something you need, right? Because these guys are going to get banged up at some point in the season. Right? It's pretty rare for all five offensive linemen to be 100% healthy for all of the season. It doesn't really happen typically. Okay, I know it has happened before in the past. I think the Buccaneers in 2020 really didn't suffer too much until Alex Kappa, in the playoffs where Aaron City then had to come in. But it's tough to keep all five of those guys healthy. So you got to have depth there, and having Robert Hainsey there behind Graham Barton, also to learn, right? For Graham Barton to learn from Robert Hainsey. Hainsey's a veteran at this point, so I do think that's valuable as well. Going over to who they have listed as guards, Ben Bredesen, who they signed as a free agent for the New York Giants. He will probably compete, I would guess, at the left guard spot. He'll be competing there. Avery Jones is another guy, an undrafted free agent that they had signed. Cody Malk, who's probably going to be the right guard, took some steps, had some ups and downs, I would say, in his rookie season. But I think, again, he's a guy that the Buccaneers are pretty hopeful for a year or two, making that another step there. After playing North Dakota State, smaller school, smaller competition, transitioning to the NFL isn't always as easy for those guys. But I think Cody Malk held his own, honestly, and I'm excited to see what he does in year two. I think he could develop into a really nice piece along the offensive line. And then Sua Opeta, who they signed from the Philadelphia Eagles. So he's another guy. I think him, Opeta, and Bredesen are going to be the two guys mainly there that are competing for that left guard spot. So that's really, I would say, the only spot that's sort of a question mark right now, that left guard spot. All the other spots are, I think, pretty solidified right now, but we will see what happens in training camp. Next, this is just guys that are listed as offensive linemen. So whether guard, tackle, I don't really know, but they're listed as offensive linemen. Xavier Delgado, who's an undrafted free agent, Luke Haggard, and Lorenz Metz, as well as Brandon Walton. So Brandon Walton has been on the team for a good bit. We do know he can play a little bit of guard, has played tackle in the past. So again, depth, right? You're looking for depth along the offensive line. So the guys that they have listed as tackles are Silas Dizanzi. Sorry if I butchered that. Luke Gedicke, who obviously will most likely be the team's right tackle. Justin School and Tristan Wirfs. So we all know about Tristan Wirfs, obviously. So I would say, look, the positions that are in stone here are left tackle, Tristan Wirfs. Left guard is a question mark, right? Center, I would say Graham Barton. Right guard, Cody Malk, and right tackle, Luke Gedicke. So Luke Gedicke made a massive leap from year one to year two. Can he make another one? Because if he does, that's a darn good right tackle right there. So we will see if he can. But like I said, I think all those positions are pretty much locked in except the left guard spot. And that's the one I'm going to be paying attention to in training camp and in the preseason games. I think both that's going to matter. So guys like Ben Bredesen, Sua Opeta, I don't think they're going to move Robert Hainsey there. I know there was some talk about that. I think they would like Hainsey to push Barton a little bit. I know the Buccaneers are going to say, well, it's going to be a competition and Barton has to earn it. I think it's Barton's job to lose, quite frankly. So I don't think he's in any danger of not being the starter come week one for this team. So, that's why I don't think they're going to have Hainsey in the mix of that left guard spot. I think they like Bredesen, they like Opeta, and I think Opeta could be one of the more underrated signings that this team made this past offseason. I do like a lot of things he brings. He was a good depth piece for the Eagles, and I think maybe given more time, I wonder if there's something else there with Sua Opeta. So the Eagles' offensive line's really good. There's not many spots for him to take. I wonder if he's found a spot here in Tampa. So we will wait and see on that. But obviously, the offensive line's really important, right? For a quarterback, Baker Mayfield, he has to have time back there, right? If you don't have time, you don't have a chance. I think that's one of the things, when you look at bad teams, they typically don't have great offensive lines, right? Because it wrecks an entire offense. So the Bucs offensive line has been pretty good for the past few years. And having Tristan Wirfs helps. Having, the emergence now of Luke Gedeke helps. Cody Mauch stepping in. And hopefully Graham Barton can help that even more, especially in the run game, because that's something where they could use a little bit more improvement in the run blocking game. But hopefully Graham Barton is there to help that and improve the run game as well as the passing game for the Bucs to give the quarterback time in that pocket and find the open man. So what do you guys think about the Buccaneers offensive line? I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on the Bucs offensive line. Do you think Robert Hainsey could maybe compete for that left guard spot? Do you like Graham Barton as a draft pick for the Buccaneers? Do you think he could be, their center 10 years down the line or whatever? I know that's way out there, but you never know. With centers and a guy you're drafting in the first round, you have a lot of high hopes for him. So Tristan Wirfs, obviously we know about him. Are you excited to see what Luke Gedeke does in year 3? Are you excited to see what Cody Mauch does in year 2? Who do you think wins the left guard spot? Do you think, if not Hainsey, do you think it's Bredesen? Do you think it's Opeta? Do you think it's somebody else? So I'm always curious to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on those things. But let me know in the comment section below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And go Bucs.